Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another great edition of Sitback with Shaq and Anu. We're coming to you live once again on Channel 1 Dialogue TV and, of course, our YouTube platform. It's PodHub. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. It's a Wednesday night. It's midweek. And, as always, some fantastic guests on the show.
Absolutely. So I was yesterday I couldn't be here. And in fact,
hello. Hello.
Yeah, in fact, I thought today was the 50th show. It just goes to show how much I know about the show.
Naturally, when you call me an hour before the show, I know, it doesn't really help. But yesterday was a good show, as a matter of fact. We obviously had the deputy, the former deputy central bank governor on the show with us. Talking about exactly what the IMF is.
Absolutely. Actually, I would have loved to have caught that live, but I was actually out for the count. So I slept. So it is what it is.
Today, it's all about food.
Yeah, that's right.
Food and more food. And we've got Dharshan in the studio, Dharshan Munidasa. Thank you, Dharshan, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Much appreciated, of course. Dharshan, celebrated restaurateur in Sri Lanka, right? And some fantastic restaurants he's opened, and what we're going to be talking about mainly, of course, is Ministry of Crab, which is having a pop-up exactly a month from today in Melbourne, and give you all the details on that. And of course, everyone, we've got a fair amount of people watching us online from all over the world.
That's right. But as usual, let's not forego the preliminaries, which is every day we do have a poll on the show. And of course, the poll kind of fits the subject at hand, that we're going to talk about. And today is no different. So without further ado, let's get into our poll.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Dharshan.
Oh, we're back without any warning. Right. Anyway, so today's poll, like I was saying, is this. Now, this is, I think, a very important question that a lot of foodies here would like to know the answer to. Does the best food in the world always have to be the most expensive? Yes or no answers only. Please WhatsApp your answers to our hotline 077-669-1590. And at the end of the show, near the end of the show, we'll reveal the answers to this question.
And we'll also ask Dharshan this question and also basically find out what he thinks about it. So many people obviously giving us their responses on all our polls. So thank you very much. Here's another interesting one for you to basically jump into. 077-669-1590. Rightio, time for us to dive deep into the conversation with Dharshan Munidasa in the studio with us. Dharshan, firstly, what is a double degree holder in computer and international relations, right? Elbow deep in culinary art. What's the deal there?
So when I was a university student in the US, food at the dorms were really bad.
Okay.
Of course.
I just started to cook on my own.
Okay.
My first attempt at this, I realized I need to have a system.
Okay.
The system involved a daily menu, a shopping list for the week.
Right.
And that's how I started. I think food has always been a very important part of my childhood.
Right.
Even a mango meant climb the tree, touch every fruit.
Right.
Find what's ripe.
Right.
And pluck it and leave the others to get ripe tomorrow.
Okay.
So I think being in Sri Lanka, you have a lot of amazing fresh fruits around in your garden. You interact with ingredients on a daily basis. There are people coming and selling crab to your house live.
Right.
You go fishing. Rajagiri to Madinagoda, I used to go fishing with my brother. So again, you get close to nature. And I think when you grow up with that kind of surroundings and a very Japanese attitude where you actually pay a lot of respect to nature,
right.
Bonsai, to hobbies of catching fish, or even the art of making a sword, which translated eventually to knives. You pay so much attention to tiny details. So having able to exercise those amazing aspects of food in your garden or your surroundings was an amazing advantage. So if you look at chefs from Dubai or Singapore,
Right.
I don't think some of them have even seen what a real fish looks, a whole fish looks like.
Right.
Because everyone is so. You call the supplier, you email them, and fish arrives in packs and slices. So that way we do that.
Right.
I think in Sri Lanka, we still do that with the crab. We have. We don't have suppliers with email addresses. We call, we get. We are at their mercy. We are at the mercy of weather gods.
Yeah.
And months of April, May, we are so low on crab. We had to stop taking reservations.
Right.
But again, eventually it was childhood upbringing, greed, hunger, wanting to eat something better.
Right.
Is a reason that I realized I need to cook on my own in America.
So what kicked in terms of you deciding the fact that, okay, cooking on your own is one thing for you to survive in the university dorm, but what ticked saying that I need to start a restaurant? I can do this.
That's quite a leap, isn't it?
Yeah.
So after
From the university dorm.
after I graduated, I came back to Sri Lanka. My dad had passed away, so I had to come running back.
Right.
With that, I spoke to my mom and Dad's been talking about a restaurant for years and never did it, and he died. And shall we start that restaurant?
Right.
But at the same time, I used that platform as a place to start my adult life, technically.
Right.
Eventually, I got better at what I was doing in terms of restaurants. We tried to import, like Japanese restaurants, you need a lot of stuff from Japan.
Yeah.
And it's like early 90s. And I realized it was so hard to import to Sri Lanka. I know it's even harder now.
Yeah.
But I started walking Sri Lanka, going into the fish markets in Paliagoda, Negombo Beach, learning how to grade crabs. Like, no culinary institute in the world teaches how to grade a crab.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all these hotel school graduates, they don't know anything about a crab.
Yeah, that's something we really want to find out because
So
you've mastered
even
that.
Myself, I learned from people in PETA.
Okay.
I would carry some cigarettes, give everybody cigarettes to start a conversation with.
Right.
And I learned from those people. And that's how, this is the early 90s again. So like that, tuna.
Right.
We were landing tuna in Sri Lanka. Boats were, at that time, this is controversial, Taiwanese boats registered to BOI companies in Sri Lanka. Therefore, they were flying the Sri Lankan flag. Therefore, they could fish in Sri Lankan waters. A tuna gets its nationality where it lands.
Okay.
Right.
So between Sri Lanka and the South Pole, there's no landmass.
That's right.
Right.
So if you can go 5,000 miles down, you can catch a tuna, you come back up, and you land it in Sri Lanka.
It's a Sri Lankan tuna.
So then at the fisheries harbor, they would unload this tuna and they would grade them. And I would spend maybe twice a week, about 2 hours, grading the fish with them, trying to find one magical fatty tuna. And there were days that I could do that. Again, depends on temperature, where they were caught, luck. And we are grading about 2,000 fish
Wow.
just to find one.
One.
So again, you don't learn these things in culinary school. In Japan, it's even much easier because you tell me what grade of tuna you want from which country. You can buy whatever you want.
Right.
So I started walking around Sri Lanka, going to these fish markets, fisheries harbors, learned so much from everybody. And that's how I learned ingredients. And I realized that you can make good food with good ingredients, but you cannot make good stuff with bad ingredients. But the reverse is possible. You can make bad food with good ingredients. And sometimes you go to Sri Lankan homes, they invite us for lunch or dinner, or Sri Lankan restaurants. When they mess up Sri Lankan food in Sri Lanka, it's like a dagger going through your heart.
That's true. That is so true.
So all that learning process eventually gave me the lessons in life, the knowledge that I have now, and humble beginnings.
So you had no idea before you started the restaurant. So you just had the passion to cook. You love to cook. You love to eat. But it was basically self-start, so to say.
self-taught, self-realized, made so many mistakes.
Right.
Right.
You
And
learn
was it
from that.
Yeah. Was it sushi first?
Well, it was Nihonbashi first. And
Yeah.
unlike everyone thinks that Japanese food is all sushi and sashimi,
Yeah.
it's not. There's so many other aspects to it.
Yeah.
But again, they all begin from ingredients.
Right.
So you're in a country, an island, middle of the Indian Ocean. We catch fish every day.
Right.
So where would you go to? Where the fish are caught.
Right.
So that's the beginning of my culinary journey.
Interesting, really interesting. Of course, you still have the opportunity of dropping messages and questions to Dharshan, and you know the number that is, of course, the number 077 669 1590. Nihonbashi was the first Sri Lankan restaurant to be on Asia's 50 best.
Yes.
And what's the story there? Was there a demand for Japanese food at that time? Because right now you've got Japanese food in every sort of corner of Sri Lanka. And Japanese food then...
Giving a good run for the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, that's true, right? The Sri Lankan Chinese restaurant. Right? So, but back then, I mean, Japanese food was considered... Honestly, Japanese food was considered delicacy as a whole, you know? Because not many people really knew about Japanese food. Even today, I mean...
I think it's still a delicacy.
Yeah?
But at that time, yes, we were the fourth restaurant open.
Okay.
There were Japanese restaurants from late 70s.
Right.
When we were kids, there was a mom and pop shop.
Right.
Oh, right.
It
Right.
was really sweet of them, and humble, cute, you know, very charming Japanese restaurants. But Sri Lanka had one. Why Japanese restaurants are older in Sri Lanka than in India? India had a rice ban.
Right.
Right.
They could not import Japonica rice,
Right.
or rice from anywhere for that matter, so they could not have sushi going forward. So it's not only to make sushi, to make any single Japanese dish, you need Japanese rice.
Right.
And that's part and parcel of what it is. And therefore, Japanese restaurants in India were late in coming.
Okay.
So we are not the first. I mean, there were other Japanese restaurants, and at the beginning, I think Nihonbashi was also a Japanese restaurant for Japanese.
Okay.
Right.
We had like 20 non-Japanese guests per month.
Right.
So this is Sri Lankans, resident Koreans, resident Chinese, Singaporean guests, all total 20.
Wow. Okay.
And we were at about 2,000 Japanese guests a month.
Wow.
In the beginning, I got the few complaints on Sri Lankan guests like, this is
Not spicy.
too authentic, blah, blah, blah. And we actually, because their stance was so wrong,
Right.
Yeah.
didn't matter.
Right. Right.
But I also took the challenge of trying to educate Sri Lanka what Japanese food is.
Okay.
So we opened Nihonbashi Hotel.
Yeah.
And I think more than Nihonbashi main restaurant, that small restaurant lit the fire of making Japanese food popular in
It
Sri Lanka.
really did. It really did.
And,
I'm sure people would have asked you, Dharshan, that may I put chili paste? Can I have a little bit of chili paste?
when they asked that, we showed the door. Because
Of course.
because why?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I would equate that like you asking me that is the same as asking me to take the tune and make an ambultia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And we are proud of what we do.
Yeah.
My staff are trained and taught what to do. And if someone comes and disrespects us like that,
Right.
I think we have the right to do the same.
Right. Right. Right.
Many restaurants in South Asia, customer comes there. Custom is king, yes.
Yeah.
But you are that because we respect you
Right.
and you respect us.
Right.
The moment you erase that line and say that I want this dish made this way, there's no difference between restaurant A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for us to respect you, respect us. Enjoy what we do.
Right.
Give us the credit for who we are, what we've done.
Right.
And if you like it, you'll always come back.
Yeah. That's for
And
sure.
if you don't like it,
Yeah.
I'm not asking not to come back, but you probably won't.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's fine with us too. No one's forcing you to do stuff. So like that, Nihonbashi Hotel, we served real Japanese food.
Yeah.
We didn't do this mayonnaise drizzle nonsense even then. But we made the price point small as possible by serving smaller portions.
Right.
We had kids coming in with 100 rupee notes that time.
Yeah.
Buying 3 pieces of sushi and stuff like that. And I think those kids are now adults and are still fans of Nihonbashi.
Yeah,
exactly.
So Nihonbashi Odell lit the fire of Japanese cuisine in Sri Lanka, and I think we created a generation out of that.
And I remember Nihonbashi Odell, of course, now at that time, spending a day at Odell, going out shopping, or you spend the day.
Yeah.
And then
you had to have lunch.
You had to have lunch, and that was the first thing, And I've walked into Nihonbashi Odell about 10 times.
Yeah.
Because there's no space to sit down.
Yeah.
Because it's like a really narrow place.
Absolutely.
And then you keep walking in and say, okay, I'm hungry.
But there
I'm
are
hungry,
two
I'm
rooms
hungry.
at the back, right?
They're always occupied.
2 tables.
Yeah, 2 tables.
They're
Yeah,
always
right.
occupied.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing. And thankfully, it's just a walking distance from me.
Yeah,
And it's just like, a staple diet, as a matter of fact, now it has actually become, honestly. And
Yeah. So my wife is the one who actually, for the longest time, I resisted sushi and sashimi. For the longest time, I just couldn't get my head around. It's uncooked fish. I just couldn't fathom this.
Yeah.
And then, then she forced me to have it.
right.
I thought, darn it, now I have to admit I was wrong.
Another anecdote.
Yeah.
When we started, no Sri Lankan knew tuna was kelawalla.
Yeah. And this,
Right, so when I
absolutely.
said, we were like, oh, I love the tuna, I'm like, oh, you like kelawalla? He said, kelawalla?
That is what I also found that out much later on.
Yeah, so the other thing, Sri Lankans don't know fish names.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't. As a matter of fact, they
Yeah.
don't.
They know the Sinhala name, but
No, they don't know that either.
Yeah, okay.
What is sole?
Yeah. Actually, what is soul?
What is pomfret?
Good heavens, when you put it like that, we don't know Jack.
Yeah. What is Jack? Mackerel.
Yeah, Jack mackerel.
What is it in Sinhala?
Yeah. What is in the?
Jack mackerel in Sinhala.
I don't know. I have no idea.
It's okay.
Ah.
Pomfret is bawale.
Okay.
Sole is patamati.
Oh, man, first time I heard that name.
Right? So tuna is kelawalla.
Yeah.
Skipjack tuna is balea.
Yeah.
Sear, that word only exists in South Asia.
Yeah.
It's king mackerel.
Yeah.
Tora. What's baby sear?
Okay. I have no
There
idea.
are words for this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Barracuda is jilawa.
Huh. Oh, so Barracuda is Jila.
Jila.
Cuttlefish is gemba.
Hmm.
Then Dalla has so many kinds of pili,
Yeah,
daldo and
yeah.
all that, right? But again, how do I know this? There's no culinary school that
Yeah.
there's no dictionary I can buy.
Right.
By talking to fishermen,
Wow.
by making mistakes, by learning, taking notes, or remembering these things. Kossa, grouper.
Wow. It's called Osa. Really? Wow. That's incredible.
Again, so a Japanese national would know more fish species than an American or anyone else because
Right.
they eat so much and they relate to that.
Right.
We
Right.
are an island
Yeah.
and the sea is not far.
Yeah,
of
for
course,
sure.
yeah.
We should know these things.
I think the
completely
closest we
agree.
get to is when you go to the supermarket and you read those little tags.
But I used to go and buy from fish from the boats as they come in
Oh, okay.
in Dehivala and Mount Lavinia.
Right.
So they used to come up with all these names, but of course, we never just made the connection that that soul. That's incredible, right? And of course, they had the baby, the smaller tuna. They call it atawalla. Yeah. So I was thinking, it's hilarious.
Well, there's another fish that I love. Grey mullet,
Okay.
godea.
Good. Yeah.
What they are, really?
So
Wow.
the fish egg of grey mullet becomes this expensive dried fish egg called bottarga
Okay.
Right.
from Europe.
Okay.
And then on the east side, they make it in Taiwan and it's called karasumi.
Oh man. It's like-
But again, Sri Lanka is a country, we don't care about what we consume.
Yeah.
We don't care about the geography of where the rice is coming from.
Yes.
We don't care about, we grade tea for the entire world, but we don't give a damn about what we drink.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's no household saying that today I'm serving you a Norelia OP.
They wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But it's high time that we pay attention.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's in our country, right?
Yeah.
And we are selling it to the world. We are grading it for the
Absolutely.
world. There are only 2 kinds of tea in Sri Lanka. Plain tea.
Milk tea.
There is no
And
celebration of geography,
Yeah.
region, terroir.
Yeah. There's a third. I have to disagree. Kirikahat.
What is kitty cat? Isn't it milk tea?
Milk tea, but without the sugar. I was like utterly confused. Like, what does that mean?
But I thought all the teas contain no sugar.
Yes, they just can't give it to you without sugar because other people know.
But it's nuts.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's quite surprising that we obviously, it's sad at the same time that we don't know. We should be ashamed,
Yeah, really.
actually, that we don't know.
Actually, I want my son to, forget about us with you now. I just found Atawalla. I sorted myself out at Atawalla. I just want my son to know everything. No, haven't you thought about a school like that, actually, Dharshan?
No, but this is stemming from curiosity. No?
Yeah.
You
No,
don't
but
have-
I'm
you
just
don't have
saying
to go
for
to
you to
school.
kind of, do
You don't have to
something.
go to school to learn this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's your own curiosity
Yeah,
to
should
learn,
be satiated,
to
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and fishermen are still accessible to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, all you have to do is go on the beach early in the morning or late in the evening,
And it's not far away.
It is. That is so true. That is so
Yeah.
true. I mean, on the subject of talking about seafood, we're going to move into MOC right now. Firstly, again, congratulations for being on the Asia's 50
Oh,
Best
yeah.
for the 8th consecutive year, MOC. You've opened restaurants in Mumbai, Manila, Shanghai, Maldives, and Bangkok. And now we're going to be talking about your 30-day pop-up in Melbourne, which is, of course, starting 1 month from today. Tell us the story behind that. How did that come about?
I think there was a lot of discussion about Australia because Australia is an interesting place to do MOC because they have the crab.
Right.
All right.
And having local ingredient is a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And so we've been talking to people and friends in Australia in the industry, and this came about. And now here we are, 22-day pop-up over 5 weeks. We are serving 3,200 guests.
Wow.
We are 1 month away today exactly, and we are at 1,800.
Oh.
So
Should be done by next week.
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
Four of my team together with me, 5 of my team together with me are flying into Australia, and we'll be executing our menus with
Right.
crab liver pate, salads, garlic chili prawn, and the crab. The crab are coming from Queensland and Darwin.
Right.
They're being flown every day
Wow.
into Melbourne. And again, the advantage of having local ingredients is amazing.
Yeah.
It's still coming from Australia. Australia is a big country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still taking flight, but it's there.
Right.
So no customs, no issues of importing species or whatnot. And it's looking forward to it.
How many kilos of crabs are we talking?
So all in all, about 5,000 kilos.
Holy mackerel. Even the crab are saying 5 tons of us.
But is this your sort of testing ground to see if you can actually open up MOC there?
I think all pop-ups do have a testing portion
Right.
inbuilt to it, apart from the PR and
Right. Right.
market research, but most importantly the supply chain.
Right.
How strong is it?
Okay. Okay.
And right now we've done everything to make it strong
Right.
by paying more to
Okay.
make sure that the crabs are intact.
Okay.
I mean, even in Sri Lanka, we pay top dollar,
Yeah.
not rupees, top dollar, to make sure that we get the best quality crab and we get most of it.
I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to basically find out how you get the best quality crab. And
I have met a couple of your suppliers who are good friends of mine.
Right.
Who supply from Mena and Batiklo, I think. Yeah. And these are big crabs. I know.
big boys, big boys. So basically, we're looking at MOC in Melbourne. You've obviously timed it really well with the World Cup. So the peak's going to be up, and then not only is it going to be Australia, it's going to be the rest of the world that's going to be there. So perfect timing.
Second time we're doing this World Cup in Australia.
Oh, really?
We did one in 2015
15? I was there.
Oh, really?
I didn't know.
in Sydney.
I was there. I didn't know. Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. So right now you're almost through in terms of your sellouts. How's that working though? I mean, do they pre-book the reservations, or is the menu out and they pre-book the menu?
So it's one set menu.
Okay.
And there's a link to book up, and that's it. Just follow the link, and you make the reservation, and you prepay, and that's it.
Wow. Okay.
It's something. I think with COVID, everyone has to prepay.
Yeah.
To reserve a reservation nowadays. So that's working in our favor.
Wonderful. How did your love story with MOC actually start up? I mean, Neon Bash. I mean, you're looking poles apart here.
Not exactly. So, anyways, I had a TV show.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And the first season, I dedicated one episode to Sri Lankan crab.
Okay.
And we filmed the first half in Sri Lanka, the second half in Singapore.
Right.
And when the program aired, one of my American friends asked me, "You know a lot about crab, why aren't you doing a crab restaurant?" That was it.
Okay.
And he happened to be a friend of Kumar and Mahela.
Right.
And he pulled out.
Oh. Oh.
After we secured Dutch Hospital.
Oh. Okay.
And then I asked Kumar and Mahela, "Would you like to be a part of it now?" And they jumped in. And the rest is history.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's been.
But it's been a lot of hard work also, a lot of learning in the beginning. Again, everyone says mistakes can be, a learning curve for you, as long as you remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you forget it, you don't learn anything. So
Right.
experience is nothing about memory. So even today, the pains that we had, the growing pains we had in the beginning, are still huge learning points
Right.
to make decisions even today. So,
But it's taken off really well, though. It really has.
yeah, I think a lot of things fell into place. Tourism started coming back to Sri
Yeah.
Lanka. We went to levels that we never seen
Yeah.
before. The cricket angle, the World Cups.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that, and and crabs are a delicacy in Asia,
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and it
Pretty
was
much any part of the world. No? I mean, people love crab.
not Europe as much.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
our crabs have always been in Singapore,
Right.
and there was a joke among Sri Lankans then before MOC opened that to have the best crabs of Sri Lanka, you had to go to
Yeah,
Singapore.
that's true.
That's going to be my next question,
Yeah, so-
actually. But
yeah,
since you
yeah.
brought it up,
So that annoyed me.
Yeah.
okay.
Even before my TV show, like Singapore is celebrating our ingredient. There's a statue of a crab in Changi Airport.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
And there's also a sign in MOC saying that reason it's a joke. It says Crab Street Journal.
Right.
Recent reports indicate Singapore has no chili, no pepper, no crab.
Right.
Well, Sri Lanka, the real home of chili crab and pepper crab, but it's true. They don't
Yeah.
have any of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like Singapore owning champagne.
Yeah.
It's like owning a green tea
Right.
when nothing is grown there. So that was a reason. That was a message in my TV show. Like, as Sri Lankans, we should thank Singapore for making our crabs popular and famous.
Yeah.
But I think we should own it.
That's true. So it's not a rumor that the best crabs of Sri Lanka actually go to Singapore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I mean, not after we started
Not
buying it.
okay. Right.
Because, and we also ensured to make sure that we got the best crab of Sri Lanka should be served in Sri Lanka,
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
not in any other country. To do that, we had to buy crabs in foreign currency,
Okay.
and meaning we need to hedge.
Right. Right.
So we have. You said you met
Yes.
a couple of my suppliers. I
Yeah.
have only one.
Yeah. Wilson.
Entire
Yeah.
10 years,
Yeah.
and up to now only one supplier.
Wow.
Oh, really? Okay.
Wow.
So we made sure that he was never deprived of earnings from another
Wow.
country.
Okay.
So he was the same guy who was supplying Singapore before? Like, I mean, mainly
So
Singapore?
the big crab suppliers in Sri Lanka are exporters.
Right, okay.
So we latched on to one of them,
Right.
and we became his bigger.
Bigger client. Well,
But
fantastic.
to make sure, we had to deprive Singapore of those crabs.
right.
So how do I do that? By paying more.
Yeah.
We have a history of the dollar appreciating against the rupee 15% a year.
Right.
Then
Suddenly,
we needed to hedge that by about maybe 3% a month.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Wow.
we needed to do that.
So now, like I said, now you obviously, when you spoke about it earlier on, you've mastered the art of grading crab, right? And I think that's something not many people out there can proudly say that they can do.
I don't know whether there are any people out in Sri Lanka.
I haven't. I don't know.
How
do you do it?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the process?
So first of all the exporters know how to do it.
Okay.
Okay. They should.
Yeah, they should. Otherwise, they
Yeah.
cannot export.
Right.
Yeah.
And whatever that's sold in Sri Lanka were the ones that they could not export.
Okay.
All right.
So now to ensure that we got the same one that they what got exported, again we had to hedge currency
Right.
values and all that. First, I think you can grade it by visuals.
Okay.
If one claw is smaller than the other, you can't export it.
Right.
Okay.
So that's that. Then by touch and feel, you can determine whether this crab is a meaty crab or a water crab. The difference between the two is when you cook both, one has very little water coming out and the claws to body is full of meat.
Right.
Another one has a lot of water coming out, the meat shrivels up.
Right.
So that's a selection process.
Okay.
And
And
so,
obviously the size of the crab matters, right?
yes, so
Yeah.
bigger the crab, rarer it is.
Yeah.
2.5 kilo crabs are not common.
Right.
But we probably get about one a day.
Whoa, okay.
Wow. And who's the lucky person who lands it on that plate?
Wow.
Well, that's amazing. Like you said, clearly, if you want to go buy crabs, you just go that.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But it's a completely different process out there, and that's, I think, one of the main reasons that MOC sort of stands out. In your opinion, sorry, Janu?
Sorry, I just want to ask, like, inventory. So how do you plan ahead, especially given the
You
current?
can't.
You really can't, can you?
You get what's caught.
Wow.
You select from what's harvested, and then that's it.
And obviously, you make sure that your supplier is his top priority, obviously.
Yes, but
Yeah.
hot seasons of April and May,
Yeah.
crabs burrow.
Yeah.
You're catching 1/3 of what you were catching in February.
Right. Wow.
So you need to decide.
And so at that point, you basically are reducing your reservations also.
Yes.
Okay.
So like I said, the best crabs of Sri Lanka should be consumed in Sri Lanka, and it's a privilege to do that.
That's true.
By the time you take these crabs to Singapore, they're already 3 days old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
So
true.
I think it's waste of crab.
In your opinion, Dharshan, what makes MOC a special restaurant? Because from what I know and from my friends and everywhere, basically, going to MOC is to celebrate something.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something where you said, okay, let's just meet up and grab this.
It's not just another meal. that's for
Exactly,
sure.
and it's
Yeah.
considered a special restaurant for a special occasion,
Yeah.
like birthdays, anniversaries, family coming down. What would you consider MOC? Why is it a
I
special
think it's
restaurant?
special because we are focused
Right,
on one of the most expensive and regal seafood ingredients from Sri Lanka.
right,
So that's one, and that takes our price point up.
right.
We are also in probably one of the most beautiful buildings in Colombo
True.
or the world. To house a restaurant inside a 400-year-old building, I think it's an honor.
Right,
And simplicity. We didn't change anything inside the space.
right,
We want to celebrate the space. We want to celebrate the crab. We want to celebrate the simple flavors of the crab by accenting it with our spices. That's it. Our food is honest.
yeah. I suppose you pretty much answered it. And like I said, it's a special restaurant. It's from everybody I know. Going to MOC is for a special occasion.
Yeah.
It's not that, hey, let's catch up at MOC for a drink. It doesn't work like that,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So that's how the restaurant also has been built up. Siobhan has a question for you, Dharshan. Are there any species of crab that are endemic to Sri Lanka?
Maybe 1 or 2 inland kakutas that you find on trees,
Right.
but what we eat, no.
Okay. All right. So Siobhan, you've got nothing to worry about. Unless you go looking around for crabs and trees.
Yes, you're not particularly depleting the world crab population.
So eat it. Catch it and eat it.
Yeah. The other thing I want to ask is that, lots of people have their own unique recipe for cooking crab. There are like little crab specialists out there, amongst the general populace. And this varies from locale to locale. Basically, the East Coast has a way of doing it, So did you tap into any of these resources, this learning?
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still eating those.
Yeah.
I'm still discovering.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see how they do stuff.
Yeah, and everybody has got a different way of doing it, and it's amazing. It turns out amazing, usually.
I mean, even a chicken curry, you can say the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Still learning and still appreciating.
Yeah, that's true.
So Dharshan, you only go after, this is something that we actually had a chat off air, you only go after the finest ingredients in terms of almost for all your restaurants. You go looking out for them. We're going through an issue right now with all this importation business going on. How difficult is it at the moment for you?
It's tough. For instance, we use olive oil at Ministry of Crab on one of our two most famous dishes. And it's probably get tougher. But as Sri Lankans right now, we are all part of the solution.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to somehow control within our limits and understand our strengths and weaknesses and somehow fix this. Yes, we are not as busy as we were,
right,
but it's getting busy little by little. We see a trickle of tourists coming in, and it's increasing day by day. And as long as we are contributing towards the dollar economy of Sri Lanka, I think we should get there. Patience, perseverance, and hard work and team effort. I think we showed that last Sunday at cricket also. And I think we as Sri Lankans have to get together, rally up, regroup, reset, reboot.
That's exactly, I don't know which bit we are in now. Are we regrouped? Are we reset? Or are we rebooting? Which bit are we there?
Yeah, I think an election is due now. I
think we are still in that regroup phase.
Yeah.
True.
We have many groups here. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah. Actually, there was another question that I was really wanted to ask, especially, we jumped to Ministry of Crab immediately, but we are more on the, Japanese side of things. The knives that you use. So isn't that very, very crucial to this?
Yes.
And can you explain a little about these knives? Because I've been fascinated by that, Dharshan.
Okay, so when the shogunate was not dismantled,
discontinued.
Yeah. The knife smiths or blacksmiths who were making katanas eventually started focusing on knives. And that's how the same technology of folding metal got into that. And as any hobby in Japan, it goes to a really
next level.
Deep next level.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
Some of the knives at Nihonbashi that I've got have come from brands that have been making knives for 500 years.
Right.
Wow.
So they were obviously samurai weapon suppliers.
Normally I would take them back to Japan for servicing every year. I haven't gone to Japan in 3 years, but now I'm trying to do that. But knives are important.
Yeah.
In anything, like a tomato slice tastes better when it's cut with a sharp knife.
Really?
Yeah, otherwise it's mushed up, right?
Right.
If you use a
I read
knife,
this about,
you're squishing tomato. But if you use a sharp knife, you just
slicing.
have a nice slice.
Yeah.
So the textural experience of what you bite in a sandwich is different.
But got to invest
in some good knives.
We're hungry at the moment.
Brought some food and come.
You've got all your labels though. You brought it along with you. But now, of course, now you started a new restaurant in the Maldives, just about 2 years. Completely different to what you've obviously been doing.
Steak knives.
And so, talk us through that.
So we opened Ministry of Crab in Maldives.
Right.
And this amazing property called Crossroads. There's 2 hotels and a yacht marina.
Okay.
And I eventually signed up for Nihonbashi also.
Right.
And I told the developers, why don't you light a bonfire and throw meat at it?
Okay.
Then they said, would you do it for us?
Right.
And I started thinking about it. I started experimenting of cooking steaks on my yakitori grill at Nihonbashi.
Right.
And eventually built an oven that fires at 750 Celsius.
Right.
Made a system, a new way of cooking a steak.
Okay.
So we have 8 pits. Half of them has less charcoal, half of them has more charcoal.
Right.
We don't use any grills, so there's no singeing of the meat.
Okay.
There's no grill marks.
Right.
Like yakitori, we use skewers.
Okay.
Right.
We grill the meat at about 150 charcoal temperature for about, these are 1 kilo steaks, okay?
Right.
For about 5 minutes aside.
That's it.
And then we rest it so that the temperature stabilizes throughout the cut. Then we take a Dyson hairdryer. On the pit that has more charcoal,
Right.
we get the charcoal up to 750 degrees. And we just flash this for about 1.5 minutes aside. And this grill has a hood on top. And that hood has 3-inch brass water taps up and down.
Okay.
So I cut circulation 100%.
Right.
The charcoal is melting the fat on the beef. Fat falls, flares up. After 2-3 drops, it consumes all the oxygen inside the chamber. Now I'm cooking at 750 degrees with no flare-ups. It's radiation.
Wow.
Take the meat out,
Yeah.
we
Amazing.
salt it with about a cup of Sri Lankan sea salt.
Right.
Rest it, we slice it. That's it. We don't ask you, how do you want your steak now?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly.
We
That's what I
don't-
want
we
to
don't
ask
ask
you. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
what sauce you want because we don't have any.
Right.
So we put a hashtag, no sauce is given.
Right. Right.
Super.
Nowadays, okay, Mall is the world is coming to Mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Americans to Australians to South Africans to English people.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying this is the best steak ever.
Perfect.
So I'm very proud of my team there for blindly diving into this with me.
Right.
And now they're so proud that we are probably making the best steak in the world.
So this possibly could be the first in the world.
Yeah.
This, wow, that is amazing, Dharshan.
Yeah.
So the beef we buy from Australia, we are going to see them to see where the cuts come from.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean,
Probably like name the cows. You know.
But we buy a lot of meat.
Yeah.
It's not a joke anymore.
Right.
True.
It's
Yeah.
not small amounts, and
Yeah.
1.5 kilo steak portions are a lot of meat.
a lot of meat, and
Yeah.
it must be pretty expensive also at the same
And
time.
the reason that I can't do it here is because
We just can't afford it.
the import costs are so high.
Right. I mean, that would it actually come to a point where you might think of actually starting it here?
No. In Maldives has 0 duties on food,
Yeah.
Right.
so therefore we can import the meat for what it is.
Right.
Sri Lanka has about 100% duty on beef. If I do that, it's not affordable at all.
Yeah.
And it's not my doing, it's
Yeah.
the duty structure.
Yeah. Most probably just like 3 people will eat for a month in the restaurant.
Same 3 people keep turning up.
Yeah, you close it after that. You're sorted.
So actually, the conventional ovens, Dharshan, what do they fire at? I mean, you said 750 degrees. Obviously, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's very low,
Yeah.
very high. 280 max.
Oh, right. That is what it is.
Also, this is interesting. We take this steak,
Right.
even if it's a tomahawk, we debone it.
Okay.
We trim the meat and fat around the bone. We trim the fat around the cut.
Okay.
Chop it up. We put into a cast iron skillet. This skillet goes into that charcoal at 750. In about 3 minutes, the beef fat is melted and the fat is frying in its own fat.
Right.
In about 8 minutes, it gets crusty. We take it out, we throw some soy sauce into it, we fish it out, sprinkle some salt. That's your appetizer called beef crackling. Yeah, the world has not seen anything like that. And that's,
little like
that's,
crackle,
our, that's our first impression of who we are.
Wow.
Superb. I'm sure that's blowing people's minds right now.
And more importantly, the cast iron skillet, I had to go to Iwate, northern Japan,
Right.
to find an ironmongery that produces a cast iron skillet that can handle my temperature. And I found one that can go up to 1200 Celsius.
So it had to be specially done? Or
They had a
they had
product,
it? Okay.
but I could not find it online.
Right.
So I go there and ask them to sell it to me, and that's only that. But again, it's science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the trinity of fire: fuel, oxygen, and ignition.
But I'm sure you can take a patent out on this.
Not anymore. I just told how to do it.
I mean, come on. You just said how to do it on the surface.
Let's not do any cuts for social media about this.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, so, Ministry of Crab, you walk in, you don't know what to expect, apart from it being a crab restaurant.
Right.
Canadian is a steak restaurant. You know what to expect,
Right.
and then we give you something that you never expected. So, yeah, very proud of that.
Which one of the restaurants is very close to your heart? I know it's a tough one to actually ask. And I mean, you've been through it. You are constantly trying to recreate and come up with new fusion restaurants out there. But there has to be one that's really close to your heart.
Nihonbashi, Kama Sutra, MOC, Canadian, they're all restaurants food that I would love to eat.
Okay.
It's not made for anybody.
Right.
It primarily depends on. I mean, there is no joy in making a dish if you don't have fine joy.
Yeah.
100%.
Right? So that's how all this started.
Right.
But out of that, I had a lot of fun with Kama Sutra.
Really?
I mean, you take Sri Lankan cuisine, right?
Yeah.
And you play around with stuff, and a lot of history, a lot of culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised. I was actually thinking you'd say Nihonbashi.
Yeah, I actually
Because it's like there's just a soft spot in your heart because it's the first one that you actually started.
No, but I think we did a lot more with Kama Sutra.
Right, right.
We pushed the boundaries a lot more.
Yeah.
With Nihonbashi, yes, and to be recognized as one of the goodwill ambassadors of Japanese cuisine by the Japanese government is huge.
It's huge.
But at the same time, I think I've done my part to promote Sri Lankan cuisine.
What's next, Darshan? How do you?
Do you have any time at present?
Do you have
Before
time?
you say what next?
Yeah. And how do you juggle all this around?
Yeah, in different parts of the world, you know.
So first of all, I think I have an amazing team.
Yeah, you can't do this without a
Yeah.
great team.
Big team there. And communication, Zoom to all that has improved.
Yeah.
How we can talk,
Yeah.
how we speak to so many people at one time. Being on a flight almost once a week since August last year. Can't even travel to China. You missed one restaurant actually. We opened Chengdu
Oh, right.
in March.
Oh,
Not even been able to go there either.
wow. Okay.
So, yeah, I think the team is mostly the core of the reason that I can do what I do,
Right.
and an amazing team.
So you've got the team that actually runs the whole operation, and you're just busy conceptualizing other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to conceptualize other stuff. I'm just trying to make sure what we have
Keeps
runs
pushing
smoothly.
forward.
Yeah,
Right.
because
Oh,
it's
right,
all
yeah.
about consistency now.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the promise isn't delivered anywhere in the world, then it comes back.
We are not trying to change menus and come up with new dishes,
Right.
because we are who we are, and we need to make sure we are that.
And how different are your MOC restaurants in other parts of the world? Does it change according to the palate of the country?
No.
It's the same.
Same. And obviously locally sourced crabs.
Wherever we can.
Yeah.
Some places we can't. For instance, China.
Right.
So we send them from here. Manila, we got it from Philippines. India, Mumbai, we are getting from Chennai.
Okay.
So we are actually flying the crabs again.
Right. Right.
Maldives, we get it from Sri Lanka.
So, but the palate almost stays across. I mean, it's
The same.
it's the same. That's amazing. That really is.
I mean, otherwise there's no use, right?
Exactly, but the thing is that's where I suppose some of the franchise restaurants make a bit of an issue because they
Yeah.
feel that they sort of
Need to
blend
make it-
in
yeah.
with the country by actually trying to see
Make it
satisfy
more
the
spicy
palate.
for Sri Lanka, for instance.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And-
but I disagree with that, you know.
Yeah.
You should actually have it authentic the same way anywhere. so that anyone could from anywhere can walk into Ministry of Crab, for instance, and have the same thing, because that's what they're looking for.
Yes.
Because they're obviously coming because
It's counterproductive to have us there if we are going to localize.
Yeah.
Yes. We're almost into the last 8-9 minutes of the show, and then I didn't realize the time flew. That's what you said. What the hell are we going to talk about for 1 hour?
We want to tell you at the outset, you're not going to feel it, but I thought, what, I'm just going to reserve that.
let's just carry on with the whole thing. But Dharshan, honestly, we've known each other for a very long time, and it's just amazing how the stuff that you constantly keep coming out with. Hospitality industry in general, ever since the Easter attacks, it's been quite tough, and it's like taking 2 steps forward and 4 steps back. How are you dealing with and the chain of restaurants? How are you basically coping up with it?
Not easy, especially to my staff, who depended on a service charge.
Right.
One time Ministry of Crab had the highest service charge in the industry, and today everyone is suffering.
Right.
But I think also we need, as an industry, to stay strong and not discount.
Right.
When you discount, everyone loves a credit card deal.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you're already discounting that person who you're giving that card to go and swipe it. Their service charge.
Right.
Down. So I think all of us have to rally together, regroup, like I said earlier, and we give the best of our products and services without discounting. Let's stop fighting each other.
Yeah.
Let's get better together. Sri Lanka's tourism industry need to improve not only by numbers, but how much we charge. And that comes from better product and better service. From hotel rooms to hotel services to amenities to restaurants, what they are, what they serve, temperature of a beer to temperature of a wine, everything. Knowledge. We lose all our good stuff to overseas countries. And why can't they afford them? Why can't we? Because they say there's a bigger market. Yes. They have a better product. Yes. But Sri Lanka has the potential to do exactly that.
Right.
So I think we as stakeholders of the industry have to get together and elevate who we are, and what we do to safeguard everybody.
How are you going to do that? Getting together, like you said, regroup is one thing.
Bit by bit. Keep on proving that it can happen.
Okay.
Because everyone, you do your little bit and you improve, you can get there.
Right.
And unless you show what is possible, it's always a dream.
Right.
And I think it takes a lot of people to do that, to collectively have a positive image going forward.
You have a fantastic PR team. I know friends from abroad who will not visit Colombo. They've come down to Sri Lanka. I know. They've come down to Sri Lanka. They've driven to Argambe. They stay there for about a week. They come to Colombo, go to MOC.
That's it,
Right?
The only stop in Colombo is the Ministry of Crab.
Exactly.
I know so many people like that.
So many. So that really goes down to your PR team, which is actually pushing MOC to the world.
Yeah.
It's like, this is, and the way it's going, MOC will actually be like an ambassador sort of restaurant for Sri Lanka.
I think we do our part by bringing Sri Lanka to the world.
Yes,
of course. That's exactly what we're doing with our pop-ups. We were in Phuket in the beginning of August. Sorry, for the entire month of August.
Right.
We were at another property in Maldives. Again, we are taking Sri Lanka to the world. Yeah. And I think if the world is not coming to us,
we should go
there.
Absolutely.
And what better way to talk about your culture than through food? The moment somebody enjoys a cuisine of a country, if they like it, they immediately want to know more. So I think that really works.
It's icebreaker. It's easy to relate and connect with people.
Yeah. Especially when their tummies are full.
Yeah. That's the best way to convince anybody.
I'll do anything. I'll invest anything right now.
Dharshan, what do you have? What's next? Let's jump on it. But honestly, what is next, Dharshan? I mean, yes, you did say that you're trying to basically sustain what you have right now.
I think
but knowing you, I don't think you will basically hang around too long.
no, we need to fix Sri Lanka.
Right.
That's priority number one.
So, yeah, that is also true. I mean, at the end of the day, we talk about the foreign currency that is actually required.
Yeah.
But your buck buys more today.
Yeah, true. So actually coming to Sri Lanka it's a fantastic alternative to going anywhere else in the world, because your dollar gets so much more rupees, and there's a lot more that you can actually do, authentic Sri Lankan experiences with rupees, so you can do more. So this is, I think, if you are looking at destination branding, this is some angle, definitely the angle that we can look at.
Yep.
And I know Sri Lankan Airlines is kind of pushing that angle out there.
Radio. So a final few minutes on the show that we have for you. Just before that, I'm just going to quickly put up the poll for you because that's going to close up in just a few minutes, and we will ask Dharshan the answer to what he feels as far as this question is concerned.
So today's poll was quite simple. Does the best food in the world always have to be the most expensive? Yes or no answers only. You had to WhatsApp your answers to our hotline 077 669 1590, and here we have it. Oh, okay. 26% say the best food in the world always has to be the most expensive. So that means 74% believe otherwise.
Yeah.
Well, you live, you learn. So
what do you think, Dharshan?
They're right.
Absolutely.
No, the answer is no.
Answer is no. Right. Just 26% say the best food in the world is the most expensive.
So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
You're in Sri Lanka, you go to a lagoon, you catch a crab.
Yeah.
That's the best crab in the world.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true. Because it's satisfying that you caught something.
So where else can you do that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Of course, the crabs might catch you too. You never know. Yeah, but I know exactly what you mean, because that's the most satisfying feeling in the world. So it is what it is.
Alrighty then, Dharshan, thank you so much for coming on the show. Wish you all the very best for. It's been fabulous, and wish you all the best for the pop-up. And we might see you. We might see you in Melbourne. We'll see.
Right.
But you're going to be there till the 14th of November.
My last day is mid-October, 22nd.
22nd of October. Okay, we won't see you then. We won't see you. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We actually got a sort of a, I don't know, a crash course really today.
Absolutely. Really?
We just, the first show, we just spoke about nothing but food. I mean, yesterday we were talking about food crisis with the IMF.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. And there is one looming.
There is one, but today we just talk about food, all over food.
Intermittently we did talk about the sunrise in the night. Just pointing it out. But it is what it is.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's about it as far as the show is concerned today. Tomorrow, of course, we got another great guest coming up on the show. It's the last day as far as this week is concerned. So till we speak to you tomorrow night, live on Dara TV at 9:30, have yourself a great night.
Take care. Bye-bye.